Hey y'all. So today we are in Unit 2 of Module 1, and this is a Lesson 2. More specifically, we are talking about how you develop the theme over a period of time or in relation to events that happen throughout the entire text, right? So if you would open up either your workbook or your Canvas page to that work time B, develop theme in Summer of the Mariposas, note catcher. Now, keep in mind, you should have just read chapter 14. So our focus is I can determine a theme and analyze its development in Summer of the Mariposas, chapter 14. If you recall, in chapter 14, the five sisters met a shepherd boy, Chinko, who turned out to be the chupacabra. And that is where we are going to have our focus. So if you scroll down to your second box, on page 232, we read, "Please," the chupacabra said between sobs, "please don't hurt me. I am Chinko, the boy who helped you. I'm your friend." So at this point, we know that the chupacabra reveals himself as Chinko. And this is the boy that they took shelter with. This is the boy that they trusted, right? And so the question becomes, well, what theme would this detail connect to? We've already went over theme quite a few times, and keep in mind, guys, themes of a text are messages or main ideas relevant to the real world that the author wants the reader to take away from reading a literary text, right? Now, a text can have many themes, and this one in particular definitely does. But they can develop. Just because we went over theme in Unit 1 doesn't mean that it goes away, right? We're going to look for these recurring themes or these big ideas that develop throughout the story. We're just going to add to them. So that's what we're going to practice. The theme that we are going with for this particular one is that things are not always as they appear. Before, you may have heard it as looks can be deceiving, and that is totally fine as well, but we're gonna go with things are not always what they appear, especially since Chinko is the chupacabra at this point, and he is sad. So you're just gonna write that down. Things are not always as they appear. And so now you have to think about, well, how does this detail show that, right? Everything might not be directly in this one little sentence or two sentences, right? But it will be from what you just read. So if the chupacabra is crying, the chupacabra is crying, right? We know that it's not as big and bad, and it's not someone who goes around just hurting people without any remorse. And then it says, "I am Chinko, the boy who helped you. I am your friend." And so this detail develops a theme because at first, Chinko appears as a shepherd boy. But then at this moment, he is revealed as the chupacabra. And I am going to chupacabra, okay? And this chupacabra is not the nicest thing ever. It's a little demonic. It tries to bite Peter, right? Or it does, actually. Now, then he goes back into when he reveals himself as a chupacabra, he only shows that he is a sad little boy on the inside, right? So we really don't get the gist of it from him being Chinko or him being the chupacabra, but when they kind of collide and come together, we know that he's a sad little boy. So the girls develop this deeper understanding, this deeper compassion. They let him go when they discover his true identity. Now, this hasn't been the only time where this theme has appeared in this novel. So take a little bit of time and try to jot down an example. Where else in the novel have we seen evidence that develops this theme? This theme of things are not always as they appear. Now, this doesn't have to be details from the text. You can just go ahead and jot down some other places that this theme has appeared so far in what we've read. I'm going to pause. If you need longer, you can pause the video or you can just take a quick 30-second break with me. Okay, so one place where we learned that things are not always as they appear is obvious, and it is right at the beginning of the novel. At first, Odelia does not trust La Llorona. She does not even trust herself, right? She doesn't really understand what's going on. But she soon learns that she is kind and she is trying to help them. Now, another place things are not always as they appear as is when they met Cecilia. The sisters trust her only to discover she is evil and wants to trap them. Now, some of you may have put that Cecilia was evil, she wanted to trap them, and she cursed them, right? Now, the thing about adding the curse part is that we already know that that happened for a reason. When we talk about things are not always as they appear, we're going directly based on looks or based on first impressions, right? So you couldn't add she curses them because she does that for a reason, which takes us into a different theme. So just keep that in mind. Another one was the donkey. Peter is like, I found this talking donkey. And they're like, oh, okay. Odelia's kind of questioning herself, right? The sisters trust the donkey until he transforms or turns into the Nagol. And at that moment, they're like, oh, maybe it wasn't a nice little talking donkey, right? And so while sometimes, trusting people or taking things as they appear is great, sometimes it works out. La Llorona was a great help. Teresita was a great help. But sometimes it gets you into more trouble. And that is something that we learn all throughout this text. Now, your teacher is going to give you directions on what to do next. You are going to practice this some more, whether they tell you to work independently or in a small group to go above or to go below on your chart is completely up to them, but you will follow the exact same steps that we followed here, and you are going to be more than successful in doing so. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye, y'all.